Altars. What are they? Why do we use them? And how do we set them up? That's what we're going to go over today, and I am going to use my altar that is back there as an example. So, the first thing that I want to say is how you set up your altar is personal, and it also depends on the path that you are walking, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So, I know that there are some paths where altar setup is very specific. That's not my path. But I just kind of wanted to do an overview using my altar to Hecate back there as an example. So let's get on into it. All right, so that was a little walkthrough of my altar that I've got back there. So let me talk about a couple of things. If you're thinking about setting up an altar specifically for Hecate, that's where I'm going to focus on. You don't need a statue if you're just first starting out. I have a tendency to be extra, and at the time, I had a really good paying job. So I spent the money on that. It called to me and I wanted it. So I got it. But you do not need that. You could just print out a picture of her and have it on your altar if you would like. You could frame it if you want. I do have a photo, not a photo, like an AI generated picture of Hecate that I did through ChatGPT. So I'm going to link that below in the description and also probably in a pinned comment so you guys can pick that up for free. That is my gift to you. I really love it. Actually, there might be two. There's two that I think. So I'll offer both of them and then you can choose. Anyway, I'll put a picture up here somewhere of what they look like, and then you can choose. So, and also if you're interested in that statue back there, I do have an Amazon affiliate link that I will put below in the description, also in the pinned comment. I do get, supposedly, I've never used them before, but apparently I'll get like a little commission. It doesn't cost you guys anything extra. It does not add to the price or anything, but I get a little bit of a commission. I have no idea how much. So all the things that I have back there on my altar, if you guys are interested, I'll put the links to them below. Do with that what you will. Back to what I was saying, you don't need statuary on your altar. And like I just said, you can use a picture or a photograph There, sometimes words are really hard. Just some kind of depiction of the deity that you are working with. For me, it's Hecate. But honestly, you don't even need that. I do have the candles back there in those candle holders. I just found those. I've used so many different things, and the candles I buy I kind of buy them in bulk, so they're not really necessarily the best quality, and especially that black one. It like, the wax melts all over. So it was getting in and over in that tray, which is why I put them on a tray, because I didn't want to ruin that desk back there. But those candle holders I got a couple weeks ago, and I love them because they are like, here, let me show you. This is what they are. And you can see them better here than when I was like panning around on my thing. But they have this dish down here. So the wax gets collected in here instead of all over my dresser top back there and all over in that dish that I have. And then they've got, a cute little handle. I like them because they're black and they're kind of old-timey looking. So I'll link to these. They weren't that much also with my Amazon affiliate link. But I really like these. They came two in a box. So I ordered 2 sets. So I had 4 because I need 3, right? That's one of Hecate's numbers. Her colors are white, red, and black. That's what I have been taught. That's what I go with. So those candles back there are my altar candles that I usually have lit when I am here in my room doing things. And then the crystals that I have back there, some of them I got at my local crystal shop. Few of them have been gifted to me, and some of them that I change in and out, I found like on the beach or when I'm out for a walk in nature. I'll find a really cool rock and then I will put it on my altar for her if I feel like that's something that she wants. And then also back there on this side, there is a set of keys that I got at an antique shop. I doubt they're antique, but because Hecate is the keeper of the keys, so I wanted to have that element also on my altar. But you don't need to go and buy stuff like that. If you found keys, if you have old keys that don't go to anything anymore, you can so use those as like a nod to her being the keeper of the keys. And also back there, it was on sale, and it's a snake, which is also kind of related to Hecate. It is supposed to be like a candle holder. I used it once. It was horrible. Like I said, those black candles back there melted all over the place. And then when I tried to get them out of the little aluminum candle holder things that were stuck in there, I ripped the aluminum and they didn't come out. And actually a couple of them popped out of that thing all together. So I even, when wax gets on things, stick it in the freezer for several hours. It makes it easier. Except for that didn't work with that. So now it is just another piece of art, for lack of a better term. It serves no purpose other than another representation of Hecate and the aspects that I work with her in. So snakes transformation, right? Because they shed their skin. And then my wand back there, I found that at the beach. So what I'm trying to share with you is you do not need to spend a lot of money. 1, if you don't want to. 2, if you don't have it. You can use found items. She does not require you to go out and spend a shit ton of money on stuff. She doesn't. I had the money. I like the stuff. I bought it. I'm not in that same place now. That's a story for another time. So I already had these things, but now as I'm adding to her altar, and if I need to switch things up, I'm finding things that are cheap. So I'll go to the dollar store. I will buy my candles in bulk. Like, I'm not buying 1 or 2. I'm buying like a dozen or more at a time, because it's cheaper that way. Dollar store and the other little tchotchkes and stuff. Like, I'll put stuff on there that I have found. That sprig of lavender that's back there, that's from my mom's garden and her lavender plant. So these are the kind of things that you can put on your altar. Like, that is my sacred space. That oil, like I had mentioned in the voiceover, I started that on Dipnon, the last Dipnon, so a couple weeks ago. And this is going to be an offering oil that I am going to use specifically for Dipnon and the offerings that I give her at that time, if I remember. Because sometimes we forget. And that's okay. You lose track of the moon cycle. That's fine. We all have lives. We all get super busy. We all lose track of things. She is very understanding about that. Okay. And I always just keep in constant communication with her. And I'm like, shit. But you've got kind of like 2 to 3 days on either side of that. I find with me, she's fine with that. If I don't do it exactly on the right day, when I remember, if it's close if it's within a couple of days, I'll give my Dipnon offering to her at that point. Because we're real people. We have real lives. We have real struggles. So, and she understands that. We don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and spend an hour meditating and journaling. That's a beautiful aesthetic. I might have mentioned this at some point too, but it's a beautiful aesthetic. But like, seriously and for real, if you have a job that you have to go to and work, do you have time for that? I don't. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let these beautifully curated altars and these beautifully curated, potentially manufactured, like a day in the life of, I'm a witch and spiritual practitioner, and this is my life. And they, spend an hour meditating and journaling, and then they spend an hour doing yoga, and then, they spend another thing, and it's all beautiful and it all feels like it would be absolutely wonderful. But seriously, if you have a job and you work 40 hours a week, I want you to tell me who has the time to do that every single day. I don't even have time to do that on the weekend. It's wonderful. I am working to get to that point, so I don't have to worry about a 9 to 5. But my reality, and the reality of most everybody I know, is we have a 9 to 5. So this is my altar. Have I had gorgeous, aesthetically pleasing altars before? Yes, because that's what I thought I had to do. And if I can find a picture, I'll throw one up here of what it looked like before. But the caveat with that is, it was during the time where everybody had to stay home. And so I was working from home. So I had the time in between my day of working to curate that. And I had the space for it. I don't have the space for it now. And now I have to go into the office every day. Our deities know this. Our deities know this. I will say it one more time. Our deities know this. They know we have a life. They know we have obligations. They know. So they are not expecting nor demanding that we spend all of our money on altar supplies, or that we spend the time that we don't have in dedication and worship to them. They do not expect that. You do what you can passionately and with your whole heart and soul when you can do it. Okay. And even if you don't have the emotional or mental bandwidth to do like a full blown ritual, or able to like give all of that passion in that moment, simply lighting a candle in honor of them is sufficient. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And that's why I wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown and a look at what my altar currently looks like. So, and I did, like I said, post a picture just a few minutes ago about what my altar used to look like. Things change, your life changes, and our deities know that. And I know that Hecate knows that. And she's fine with what I am able to do for her and give for her, because she knows she knows the truth. She knows my passion. She knows my love and adoration and all of that. So it's fine. And again, sometimes we don't have the means to do these beautifully aesthetic things that we might see on Instagram or TikTok or even here. And I don't want you to make you feel like you're not enough, or to make you feel like you're doing it wrong, because you're not. The one thing I'm going to leave you with is spirituality is deeply personal. Your path is your path. So, what works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for you. And that is perfectly okay. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It doesn't mean I'm less powerful. It doesn't mean you're less powerful. Okay? So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this helped on some level. And I will see you guys next time. Stay blessed, and may Hecate's torches light your path.